Right, let's try something a bit different today. I'm going to analyze multiple pairs, so I may be quicker than usual. If you like this format, let me know. I'll see if I can do it going forward. Start off here on EU on the daily. As always, what's the daily showing us? Previous day, bearish engulfing, right? So it was with our bias yesterday. It was predictable. Didn't catch any of those moves, unfortunately. But now we've had that bearish engulfing, which means the bullish engulfing on DXY has moved more into that daily imbalance, right? Which is good because we'd barely mitigated it before that. So as we mentioned, there was more room to go into that daily order block, sorry. The only thing I would say is above, we still have that weekly imbalance. So we may want to close that weekly imbalance before the end of the week, obviously. That may be where we see that final resistance point. So I'm keeping that in mind, that that's still there outstanding. Yesterday, we just about took out the previous weekly low, I think, on EU, barely. So that may obviously provide sell side liquidity for today for us to go bullish. DXY obviously blasted through its previous weekly high. So that again is another strong buy side liquidity point. So we'll see what that means for today. So far today, previous daily highs and lows are still intact, right? Previous daily lows, that nearest sell side liquidity if we need that. And same with previous daily high on DXY. So far today, we are bullish already and bearish on DXY. So let's go down to the 4 hour. Let's see what that looks like. So now we're here on the 4 hour. If I look at DXY, as I mentioned, that weekly imbalance, it's only just above price, above this previous daily high buy side liquidity. So I could see us heading towards it. Now, if I analyze that, we're still bullish, right? We've still got high, low, high structure going on there. So we may come down, mitigate this 4 hour POY here and then head for it, or we could head there first, right? But if we do pull down, then we'll analyze this to see if it comes in as support. We didn't quite mitigate this one, but it's still available. However, for me, we have this new bullish leg here. So this is going to be my point of concern, right? In terms of support. Technically as well, we have a lower low, right? So lower high, lower low, because we just spiked through that previous weekly low, as you can see. And this will be our next point of resistance, right? This is above here for a future resistance. I'm going to concern myself with this one so far, even though I think this one was better because obviously it mitigated something and swept buy side liquidity before that breakdown. If we break above this high here, it will start to look like obviously a switch in that order flow in that direction, because we'll have a higher high above some internal 4 hour high there. So that's something to watch out for in the future. If we do get that higher high, it may be the start of that bullish scenario to come for all of this buy side liquidity in this trend line as well, especially. As I said, I'm concentrating on this and this. Right now, I'd say we're in a pullback stage. We've taken previous weekly low sell side liquidity, previous weekly high buy side liquidity. We're in a point of daily resistance and we're in a pullback towards this draw on price. So there may be longs involved here, but this will be the most high probability place where I'll look to possibly continue our bearish trend. Let's go down to the 1 hour. Let's see what that looks like. So talking through this 1 hour price action, you see previous day, we created a bit of a range here. I think during London into New York, took some buy side liquidity, mitigated this 1 hour order block POY here, and price fell, right? Creating a new bearish leg, right, where we made that lower low. Now we left massive imbalances all the way up to this 1 hour order block, which is also the same as that 4 hour order block. So I've just edited that caption there to include that it's both. So we have a 4 hour and 1 hour order block here stacked to draw price back towards this premium, okay, as that resistance. It's the exact same here on DXY as well. So I think this is a good resistance and support point to look for continuations of those shorts, right? With that trend that we already have. Price may pull back correctively into this. We'll see what happens. If it builds a trend line, that would be nice to look for those shorts similar to this. And like I said, we may get those pullback opportunities in the meantime to come and fill these gaps and come up to this draw on price above. So if we're following structure, I'm leaning towards that bearish bias continuation from this point here. Now we have taken sell side and buy side liquidity. So like I said, we may see some buys, but I would only be interested if they look good and high probability. So I would want to see some internal sell side liquidity swept before being involved in those. We'll see that more in a lower time frame. But at the moment, everything's looking good, everything's making sense. Good POI, good draw on price, coming from sell side liquidity, coming from a discount towards a premium. Let's go down to the M15. Let's see if there's anything on the horizon for this morning. So for how I trade, I don't see anything that's going to occur so far this morning for me to get involved in London. Obviously you can see here on DXY and EU there was some mitigation of this M15 order block here. Maybe on the M5 it'll look better. So you can see we broke structure, pull back down, filled that order block, and we're continuing with price. So we did sweep some internal sell side liquidity there, break above, break a structure and pull back. This isn't really something I would trade or like to trade anyway, because the price action is creating such a trend line. It's just very corrective. I think I'll just wait for price action up here. You can see the same thing happen there on DXY. And on the M15 you can see, yes, M15 order block here, but it's not as obvious of an M15 structure there. That's not really what I'm looking for. I like to look for structures like this, sweep that buy side liquidity, break down, pull back to continue going. So I'm not interested in anything so far. So what I think I'll wait for is either some continuation with an obvious sell side liquidity sweep in the New York session maybe, but preferably I want price to make its way up to here into this 1 hour order block here, however it's going to do that, and then break down, right? So that's what I want to see, something like this to continue with that structure that it's giving, leaving behind order block, fair value gap with this break of structure here to go short, stop loss just above the high. So something like this there towards the lows. This is what I would be looking for. I want price to hold this, create structure, sweep it, whatever it's going to do, break down like this, break of structure, pull back to go short. So that's enough for EU. Let's flip over to GJ, see what that looks like. So GBPJPY, I do like this pair. I do like how it moves. I'm reading it, especially recently. Just zoomed out for the moment, you can see we mitigated this daily POI here, and then price rejected it and has continued moving bullish internally here because we made this high, higher low, eventually a higher high. Now why I'm looking at this is because we're starting to get really tight with these candles and ranges, creating a really nice trend line. So I think it looks really good for shorts eventually. So we'll see what happens there. We've still got imbalances above, and I guess we're still in a bullish trend, so there's no shorts to rush into yet, but I do like the way this is looking and the way this is moving for something in the future. So what's today looking like? Well, so far today we're very bullish. Obviously this pair moves during Asia because Japanese pair, so it's already moved quite a lot this morning and it's bullish. We're above the previous daily high, previous weekly high, taking plenty of buy side liquidity, but it doesn't look to be affecting price just yet, so there may be something more to that on the lower time frame. So let's go down to the 4 hour. Let's see what that looks like. Now zoomed out here on the 4 hour, you can see we have a possible draw on price above. This is a 4 hour bearish leg. You can see this high here that took that internal buy side liquidity and broke down, creating a lower low. Okay, so there was a massive reaction from this point here. That order block's left behind there with even some inducement below it. So zooming back in now on price, you can see why I was keeping a close eye on this. We started making those really tight internal ranges here, high highs, high lows, high highs. Everything was getting quite squeezed and we've got a lovely trend line going there. Price may be drawn up to this point here. That may be what's drawing price, and price's structure hasn't changed to go bearish yet, right? We're still making this high highs, high lows, high highs. So we're in a bullish structure, so we can look for buys, right? Up until this major resistance above here. So that's what I will be looking for to see if there's anything to continue with this trend. Right, so I see this as our leg. We've left behind a 4 hour order block with imbalance here, and we may leave one behind here. We'll see where price goes with that momentum. We may not pull all the way back to this discount here at this moment. So 4 hour structure is bullish. We have a draw on price above. So I'm leaning towards a bullish bias here. So let's go down to the 1 hour. So looking at this recent 1 hour price action, we can see clearly it's bullish. We've pulled back, we've made the high low and high high. Right, so I'm reading this as the most recent 1 hour leg because we mitigated this 1 hour imbalance and order block here, right, which had swept sell side liquidity, left this order block behind, mitigated it. We've gone on to make high highs into this morning. We've left behind this imbalance here again in this discount, which also has an order block behind it, as you can see. So that I'm seeing as a possible support if we do pull back to it to go long from. So we have 1 hour bullish leg and support area here with an order block that we could look at for the future. So let's go down to M15. Let's see what some opportunities for today may look like. So what I see now here on GJ on the M15, we do have this M15 order block, which we have most recently left behind. Now it has this imbalance, it has momentum, and it swept internal sell side liquidity before causing this break of structure around the highs here. That looks good in terms of lower time frame strategy and execution, right? We have a good order block, momentum that caused imbalance, sweep of sell side liquidity. It's going with trend, right? It's not quite in the discount though, which I would have preferred around here because we have this negative below. We have this draw on price more in that 1 hour discount. Okay, so and it's right below where our stop loss would be. I would prefer that we had pulled back more into this discount and mitigated this 1 hour POI. You can see we was quite corrective coming into London, eventually swept sell side liquidity and broke above these highs here. Now what would this trade look like? We'd have our entry around here, stop loss just below here, targeting whatever percentage. Okay, the stop losses are a lot larger on the JPY pairs, so it looks something like this. Now I don't think this looks too bad, but like I said, we have those negatives below. So what I may wait for is for price to hold this area here and get the continuation. So if we do respect this, wait for that second break of structure above this high here, we may get a second chance at an order block with imbalance here to go long again, or price may come down, mitigate this area, take the sell side liquidity from these lows here, and then break structure somewhere during this pullback for us to get involved to go long. So if you're cautious, this may be the better trade. It may be what I wait for depending on how this looks, but I probably do prefer that second scenario. So I think I'll be cautious, wait for another break of structure to go with that order flow, which may happen in the New York session. So I hope that was clear. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.